Good afternoon, swimmers. Hope everyone is surviving this lockdown. Um, this Today, I'm basically going to talk about breaststroke, and hopefully, it refreshes your mind a little bit. And when you come back to the pool, we can maybe just go tackle straight into it. Okay, so I just want to talk a little bit about the breaststroke. I'm going to speak about the pool, the teaching of the pool, and the technique of the pool. The kicking, same, also technique and teaching tools, and then putting them together. So, just a little bit about breaststroke. It's a very much of a seesaw action where you have your body going forwards and up and forwards and down. It's all about the drive. So your hands, your feet, and your core, those three things work together. It's a bit much like someone put it very well together, structured well together on one of the webinars I watched recently as a four-wheel drive system where your hands are the front, your legs are the back, and your core is basically the power generating inside. Um, yeah, and also swimmers, you obviously swimmers and referring to coaches, you need to have a lot of patience with breaststroke because it can be very frustrating at times, especially repeating drills and sets over and over to perform and execute that perfect stroke technique. Because just remember, especially beginners and level one swimmers and even level two, your stroke technique is basically what we are looking for when you're at a gala, not so much your speed right away. We want to see speed, but that will come with time developing your stroke. Okay, so just remember that. And then there's one more thing I want to say, and I'll probably repeat myself over again further down this line, is that once we have corrected you on a stroke, on your breaststroke, I would like you to change it straight away, and I would like you to continue with that change the rest of the session, the rest of the month, the rest of the year, the rest of the season. I don't want you to go back to your old habits and then we have to start all over again. Okay, because when we change something, we're doing it for the best of your interests, not of our interests. Well, it is our interest, but it is to enhance you to do better at swimming. All right, so I'm going to kick off straight away with teaching of the kick. So just quickly, just 3 points. The first point is that you need to always have a very firm and sturdy kick behind. You can't have a floppy legs out far apart. It's nice and narrow kick. So it is the part that catches the water on your foot is your inversion side. So it's this part, the inside of your foot that catches the water, and it points down to your toes with an inward catch, which your toes point to each other, and that finishes off your kick. Now, one revolution is obviously one kick, pointing your toes, holding for 2 seconds, and starting again. Okay. Then your kicking technique. This is I always call it a kicking technique because it's basically the drills that we teach and the technique you need to know when you're performing that drill for when you're swimming, obviously. So there's always progressions and executions. So I would normally start off with the first part of the technique. Start off with a board, holding your hands at the back of the board, your head underneath, and you're going to go breathe, breaststroke, kick and glide. Breathe, breaststroke, kick and glide, and you're going to repeat that until we are happy with it. And then we'll move on to the next part of that technique, which is the head up. Hands in front of the board, and you do the same thing. Breathe, kick and glide. Now, with the head up, your body is a little bit heavier in the water, and it will mean that you'll need to kick a little bit harder to go up and forwards through the water. And then you'll get to the last part of this progression drills, which is called the missile position. So thumbs together, head underneath your arms, and you'll go breathe, kick and glide. And you want to have a very nice perpendicular, which is a straight line, in other words, for the smaller swimmers, on the surface of the water and just under the surface of the water. So on surface and just under, and you want to be able to move forwards, even when you're gliding. So your your kick has to be very strong. Right, so that basically sums up, just checking, that basically sums up what the breaststroke kick teaching and technique is. I'm now going to move on to the pull, teaching of the pull first. So it is very important with the pull. We normally start off with sculling. So breaststroke, a lot of you will see that we have started with sculling. So you can either do the first part of the scull as of a straight arm, or you can then later on progress to a bent arm catch, because normally you catch and you scoop over here. Okay, but I'm going to get into that now. So the first part of the catch is to develop and see where your catch lies. So we'll have you lying in the water with your feet up or with a pull buoy on, and you'll basically be sculling through the water. You don't want your hands to touch each other. You want to try and stay away from each other, just to feel that area, because you catch just outside of that scull. So catch position, high elbow catch, high elbows all the time. You want to always have a nice high elbow. You never want to drop your elbows down. Always nice and firm up on the water. From the high elbow catch, you're going to face your hands to each other, which is called the scoop. And it's almost like looking in front of the mirror and shooting your hands forwards into a missile position. Okay, so that is basically the 3 stages of the pull. And that's something we do quite regularly with you. So hopefully you can do this. A way to do this actually is to refresh your mind, is to stand in front of a mirror, or do what I'm doing at the moment, recording myself on my phone in a video, which is quite difficult, I might add. So those are ways that you can focus. So to start again, it's scowl out, it's catch, it's scoop, and it's shoot forwards into the missile position. Now, you got to make sure that you do that in the water, obviously, but without dropping the elbows and getting stuck in your stroke. So a lot of you and parents, you'll see that your kids swim like this. They'll come up to breathe, they'll be dropping the elbows, and then we're getting stuck here, and then they'll go forwards again. You want to try and make sure that you're sturdy through the water, got enough balance, and that timing is very important. Okay, but we'll get to that just now. So just going through my notes here quickly. The pull, we've discussed already about the catch of the water and not to drop your elbows and that. I'm just repeating myself. And then we get to our technique of our pull. You'll need to practice this out of the pool as well as in the pool. I've said before, I've said already that we teach mostly with the beginner and level 1, we teach mostly out of the pool. So parents, if you see us teaching out of the pool, it's very important that they learn the right technique from early age. So it's basically just exactly what I've said now. I've actually mixed them up. I've said the pool and the tech and the teaching, they go hand in hand. There is just one drill that I'd like to look at, and we do it quite often, is put on a pair of fins, and it's a flutter kick with a breaststroke pull in the front, always keeping your pull in front of your body, never going around the sides, never dropping the elbows down, keeping those high elbows and shooting the hands forwards. So we would go 6 freestyle kicks with missile position. So it will look like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and a pull. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and a pull. And you'll notice that my elbows don't drop down at all. Yeah, it's okay. It is a little easier doing it out the pool than in the pool, but if you can establish this stroke and this technique in the pool, you won't have a problem. You'll just go from A to B really fast. All right, so swimmers, also this is something I did say in the beginning. I kind of repeat myself a lot because that is our job. We focus a lot on repetition. So once we have changed this on your stroke, we have said, for example, FCA, sorry, I'm going to use you, don't drop your elbows down. I would like you to keep your elbows up and shoot forwards. Then we would like to see that, and you to continue with that, just that little one thing throughout the whole session, month, year, season. All right. Getting now to the hands and the feet. So as I said in the beginning, your hands in the front here, or your 2 wheels in the front, your legs are your back wheels, and then your core is obviously your generating of the power. Okay, so when we swim breaststroke, with your hands, feet, and core, you put everything together, obviously, and this action needs to be quick, and it needs to be effortless, but as well as timing. Timing. All right. So hands and feet, same time going through the water. Obviously, when you get a little older, like you become manly or become a man, older boy, senior swimmer, you'll see that the pull are a lot quicker than your feet, but that's getting very technical. I'm not going to get through that right now. Just make sure that your timing is always key. So you're not coming up to your height to breathe, you're not going too upwards, you're trying to stay nice and low on the water, keep your chin up on the water, and you're getting your head down all the time. Okay. Yeah, so when I've already said about the laziness and swimming breaststroke, it just requires a lot of patience, as I said before. So try, when you come back to the pool, just come into the pool with an open mind and think about, okay, well, I'm going to take in what a coach has said to me, and I'm going to try and perform this in the water. Yeah, and then I just want to go through two last points that we talk about quite a lot. There are abbreviated versions of them as well. Abbreviation is just short for something that we say a lot in training, swimmers. So a lot of you would have heard me or Corey or Lucy or any of the other coaches talk about distance per stroke, DPS, and that basically helps you hold enough power and traction on the water without using too much energy. So distance per stroke, we'll normally say counter strokes can't be more than 10 strokes for the smaller swimmers. The older swimmers, not more than 5 or 6 strokes in the length. And you need to try and perform that with obviously a glide. So the younger swimmers, you'll probably start with a 3-second glide and then narrow it down to a 2-second glide. And the older swimmers, you'll start with a 2-second glide and try and get to like a 1.5-second glide and holding those amounts of strokes. And then obviously swimming it in a set, 1050s on whatever amount, and you got to keep on holding stroke, and then obviously later it becomes to timing. Time. So yeah, that's distance per stroke. Then the second thing is your stroke rate, SR. Yeah, the younger swimmers, don't worry about too much about this. Maybe towards the end of your races, but don't worry about that right now. Stroke rate basically is your tempo, and it's your timing and getting your hands out at a quicker tempo. So you want to, if you are swimming at 50 or 100, we'll say, okay, this is what I want you to go out on. I want you to hold a 2-second glide for 200, the first part of the 200, be strong up on the water and holding 2-second glide, and then later on finishing off with a 0-second glide. So that's just a little bit about stroke rate, and then it can get very technical as well, because we have a function on our stopwatches that you can measure stroke rate with, and you basically you pick one side of the body. Or breaststroke, you just pick the whole body and you count how many strokes they take, and you just count for a minimum of 3 counts or 4 counts. You start with 0, you go 1, 2, and 3, and you hit the button, and then it gives you a stroke rate. Yeah, and then there are hundreds of different ways you can work it out, but that is the most simple. And yeah, swimmers, I hope this was okay and you took in enough information. I don't want to repeat myself too much, but just try and focus on the catch of your pool in front of the mirror. And for your legs, you can maybe just sit on the side of your bed and just point your toes together with those inversion and inward point. Yeah, all right, guys. So thank you very much for listening to me, and I will hopefully catch up with you guys soon. All right, see you. Bye.